Hello, welcome. Today we are going to talk about creating a super clear focal point with fineliner and watercolor, of course, but also creating a super soft sketch using pencil. So it's the combination of these two that is extremely wonderful, and I can't wait to show you this. And this technique is actually one I've been using in my very first video on Patreon, because I just opened up my Patreon account and our Patreon page. I want to show you, and uploaded this sketch, puppies, because they are my favorite and I absolutely love them. And I wanted to dive a little bit into this technique where you use fineliner and pencil and how you can use it strategically to create a focal point. So check out the link for my Patreon here below if you want monthly videos, monthly Q&As, stuff like that, and especially, and that is important, a place where you can share your work if after each lesson. That is incredible. Check out the link here below and we can dive into the sketch. So we have our paper here, and I'm going to start out with a pencil sketch. And we are doing a puppy, just one single puppy, and as I said before, we are going to put our focus on how to combine the fineliner with the pencil so we can kind of use it to create a focal point. So just starting out with the center here of the puppy, and then I'm adding the back leaf here, the back petal goes all the way down here. Then I have a petal here in front. It's kind of overlapping itself a little bit there, giving us a twist. Then we have a petal behind here. Going that way. So we are just mapping out the entire flower, showing where the petals are and where they are, how they are placed. Not that many details, but just mapping out the shapes first. This one is a little bit too long. I think we can put in a bit more there. Keep your eraser close and don't be ashamed of using it, because it's not a bad thing to use an eraser. I have hear people way too often say that if they feel like a failure almost if they're using an eraser, and there's really no reason to think about that. Think like that. It's a great tool to have, even if it does look like it's been eaten up by someone's cat. Hopefully not. Just putting in a stem here, and as I said, this is going to be an explanation in how we can combine the fineliner with the pencil. And the reason why we want to do that is because we want to create a clear focal point. So instead of erasing our pencil lines, I'm now going to leave it like this and start by using my fineliner in the point that I want my focal point to be, and that is right here in the center of the flower. That is kind of where we want the viewer to look. So now we can just start adding the details. Something like that. And I apologize if I'm in front of the camera. I'm just going to see if I can turn it a little bit so you can see a little bit better. Then we have all these small seeds surrounding the center, and I'm gonna put those in. A lot of them here around. And here you can just go pretty quickly. Keep them teardrop shaped. And some of them will be facing in other directions than others, because they are just randomly placed. And here in the front, of course, they will go in front of here. So doing that. Like this. I always like to keep one or two just in a random space here. And then you can put in your lines here. So there we have that. And now we have a pretty clear focal point here. Of course, we are going to add some watercolor as well, but this is pretty good for now. But we do want to kind of create a transition between the fine liner and the pencil, so it's not standing alone. So I am going to put in some lines here, but not the entire petal. I'm actually going to leave some of it like this. And I think this petal here, because it's the most interesting looking, I will give that a bit more love. It's also the thing that is kind of wrapping around here, and that is really cool. So just putting in some love there. Like that. And here we can actually do the direction lines as well. So we can see how this petal is moving. Oh, sorry, it's actually not going that way. So, like that. And I want to give this just a little bit more, just to kind of give us that idea of the fine liner being the transition between the center and these outer petals. We can also give these just a little bit of a direction line to give us a little bit of that illusion. And here on the back as well, to create that a little bit of texture in this petal. But you can see how very little it is, and it creates that beautiful transition and keeps us having a very clear focal point here. Now I'm gonna add the watercolor, so we kind of have an idea of this flower. And I'm using a Pyrrol Scarlet for that. And I actually I'm going to wet some of this petal here and drip in some color here. Whee! That spreads a lot. Very beautiful. And I'm actually going to just put in some paint here, wet or dry. Keep this a little bit lighter. And here on the lower part we can let a little bit of paint in, and we can do the same with this one. There's a lot of water here, so it does become a little bit watery. Like that. And I'm just putting in a little bit more color just to give us a different variation in this. And I'm just switching to a smaller brush. Oh, sorry. Just to give a bit of green. It's a green gold here in the center. And then just to pump up the colors a little bit, I'm gonna add a bit of green gold to some of the petals here, and then on the stem as well. I think we can add just a tiny bit of water as well. So it's mixing up a little bit more. Don't mess it up too much or it will be muddy. So this is a nice way to keep it bright and not muddy. Just a little bit of splatter and we are good to go. I'm going to dry this, but I just wanted to show you real quick a different sketch I've done while this is drying, because you can see here, let's see, just moving that. This is a sketch I've done for my Patreon page, and you can see how the fine liner is really making up this focal point, and where the pencil lines are just giving enough shape to these poppies so they are visible as poppies, also the seed parts and the buds here. But the fine liner, because it's used so sparingly, makes this so incredibly powerful. And this is another way to use this technique, so you can really work strategically with where you put the fine liner in your pencil sketch, and use the pencil as a tool instead of just something that has to be erased afterwards. I'll dry up the painting and we can see where it lands in just a second. It is dry, like that, and you can see how we created this wonderful clear focal point here in the center, and very soft petals here that are really fading away into the background, creating a wonderful feeling in the sketch. I absolutely love it. And that is a way to work with strategically with pencil and fine liner, so you can create this soft look but also create a very clear focal point and just have more tools to play with when we are creating these dynamic sketches. I love it. And if you want to dive more into real-time videos, monthly videos, Q&As, a place where you can actually share your wonderful drawings with other beautiful, wonderful, creative people, then check out my Patreon page. There's a link here below. I'm Camilla Damsboard in there as well, so it's an easy find. And I hope you will ask me any questions you have about it, and I can't wait to see you in the next video, or maybe, hopefully, also on Patreon. It is really fun over there, so I'll go jump there now. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you around.